Hi, I'm the old principal, and this is 老校长的英文节目. So, we're going to look at something actually that's kind of funny, but it's going to give you some new words to practice, okay? Does a duck's quack echo? 那这个是一个秘辛，一个传说。So, does 鸭子的叫，鸭子叫有没有回音？有没有回声啊？ Okay, this is number 94, and our storyteller is here, and she will read the whole story just now for all of us. So here you go. Number 94, does a duck's echo? No, the duck's quack echo. Okay, go ahead.
Does a duck's quack echo? Many people believe it doesn't. I felt the idea was quackery and that the only way to find out was to perform an experiment. I asked my wife to assemble the things we needed to conduct a test: a recorder, a video camera, and of course, a duck. I asked several friends about the duck's quack question. I even called a university animal science department. No one knew. But one of my friends was willing to get a duck from a farm. Where could we get a good echo? I called a sound engineer who has worked many places. He recommended a spot behind his old high school, a courtyard between two buildings, 30 feet wide and 170 feet long. The hard surfaces of the buildings were good for reflecting sound. So, with two friends, the duck, recorder, and camera, we drove to the high school. We set the bird cage down in the middle of the courtyard. We thought the duck would quack right away and the experiment would be over. But he wouldn't quack. Maybe he was nervous. We tried quacking to give him the idea, but it didn't work. We didn't want to disturb the students who could see us from their classrooms. But a duck and 3 quacking people can't remain invisible. The duck quacked in his cage, but when we took him out, he was mute. Our friend decided to hold the duck by his body so he could flap his wings. He ran through the courtyard, hoping to make it think that it was flying. So much for being discreet. But the duck quacked like crazy. Yes, the quacks echoed. I recorded it, though the echoes didn't record well. But I have a dandy video of my friend running with the duck. I call it my duck tape. The whole thing quacks me up.
I must tell you that there is a lot of words here that have special double meanings, 2个不同的含义. So you're going to have to pay very good attention. But when I read this story, it did quack me up, which means it made me laugh, okay? So with that, we begin our story about the duck, okay? We're going to talk about the duck. Does a duck's quack echo? 这个鸭子的叫，鸭子叫，会不会有回声或回音？Good question. Many people believe that it doesn't. No, honestly, when I read this story, I actually went on the internet 就是要查清楚 because somebody said it and said, I don't believe it. So I went on the internet and I found this story. Okay, so here's the proof. Okay, going on. I felt the idea was quackery. Now you could say 好笑, but a quack is 假的. In fact, if you say a quack, usually we're talking about a false doctor. 医生, a quack is a doctor, is a person who 假装他是医生啊. Okay? We'll say. So, but quackery means that you are faking it. You're 假装的. Okay? So I thought the idea was 假装的 is not true. Okay? And that the only way to find out was to 做 perform, in this case, 做一个实验. Perform 做一个实验. Going on. I asked my wife to assemble the things we need. To assemble means to 收集我们所需要的东西. Okay? And here's what we needed in the test. 这个实验的 test. Okay? We needed a recorder, 录音机, okay? A video camera, 录影机, 摄像机, okay? And of course, we needed a duck, a real live quack, quack, quack duck, okay? Boy, I don't know whether I'm going to survive this whole thing if I have to quack all through this. Okay. I asked several of my friends about the duck's quack. So I asked my friends about the duck's quack. Question. The question, does it echo? I even called a university animal science department. Okay? 一个大学, okay? Animal science. 这个科学是什么？这个 study of 动物学部一个部门 okay? So he called, these are college professors, these are very smart people, but guess what? Next one. Guess what? No one knew. So, one more good reason to have an experiment. But one of my friends was willing to get a duck from a farm. 所以我的一个朋友，他愿意从一个农场拿一个鸭子出来。Go ahead. Where could we get a good echo? Okay, now you got one problem. You got the duck, you got the video camera, 摄像机, you have the recorder, you have the people. Now you got to find a place that has a good echo, 很好的回音, a place where the echo, 这个回声 is easy. So I called a sound engineer. Okay, what is a sound? 声音学的工程师, 声音学的工程师 who has worked many places. Okay, and what did he say? He recommended 他所提倡的是什么？他的意见 is a spot. A spot simply means a place. A place. 一个地方. A spot behind his old high school. Okay, now is the high school old, or does the old refer to a long, long time ago when he was in high school. 两个翻译都可以, okay? Okay? So the high school for many years ago that he attended, a courtyard between the two buildings. So they have two buildings, 有两个楼, and the courtyard, 大院子, okay? The 大院子, okay? What about it? It had two buildings, and how much room is between the buildings? 30 feet wide and 170 feet long. So it's not real wide. But why? I mean, you're looking for an echo, 这个回音, 一个回声. Where are you going to, can you find one there? I mean, I think of an echo, I think of going up in the mountains and you say, hello, and you wait for a second. Hello, how are you? How are you? You see, this is an echo. So you don't usually think of something down in the city in a school. Okay. But it explains here, the hard surface, the 表面, right? The surface, 表面, of the buildings were good for 反射, 这个音呢, 反射, 这个音呢, okay, the sound, 这个声音, 反射, okay. So, with two friends, okay, two friends, the duck, quack, 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 okay, we got the duck, and the recorder, and the camera, we drove to the school. 就开车到学校. Okay, we set the bird cage down in the middle of the courtyard. 大院子中间, okay? 中间, middle of. We set the 笼子, okay, the cage. We set the cage down in the middle of the courtyard. Okay, now, here we begin. We thought, 我们就想, the duck would quack right away. 那个鸭子会 quack, quack, quack right away. And no problem, the experiment would be over. 试验做完了，这没事。But guess what happened? But he, the duck, wouldn't quack. 根本不想叫。Maybe he was nervous. 或许他是有一点紧张。Okay? We tried quacking. Quack, quack, quack. We, that means human beings. They tried quacking to give him the idea. 帮助他就想，对, I'm supposed to quack like they quack, quack. But it didn't work. The duck just would not quack. Going on. We didn't want to disturb. 我们不想，因为他们刚好是上学的时候，他们不愿意打扰学生why? We didn't want to disturb the students who could see us from their classrooms. 如果他们注意的都可以看下去。So they could see, and we didn't want to disturb them. So we wanted to be quiet going on. But a duck and three quacking, quack, 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 people cannot remain invisible. 不能 how do you say invisible? I mean, obviously invisible is 看不到的东西啊。So it just was impossible. I mean, what do you have? You have a duck. You have 3 quacking human beings. That's interesting. The duck won't quack, but the 3 human beings are quack, quack, quack. I guess going on, the duck quacked in his cage. Well, that's 有进步, that's progress. The duck finally quacked in his cage. 他在笼子里，他就叫。But when we took him out, when we took the duck out of the cage, 从这个笼子里拿出来, he was mute. You know what mute means? Mute means no noise, 没有音，没有声音。He was mute. He just went up. That was it. No quacking duck. The duck was not willing to quack. Okay, our friend decided to hold the duck by its body. I don't know if you've had this experience before. I've done this with chickens, never with ducks. But if you hold a duck right, okay, hold the duck by the body, okay, what does the duck or the chicken want to do? Wants to flap its wings, okay? So our friend decided to hold the duck by his body. 这就抓住他的身体 so he could flap, 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 拍打他的翅膀, okay? This is the concept. 他的理念是这样, okay? This is the theory, okay? He ran through the courtyard hoping to make it think it was flying. So here is a quacking human being, and he's running, holding a duck in his hands, and trying to get the duck excited. And so he's running back and forth, running, back and forth, okay, through the courtyard, 在大园子里, hoping 他的希望 what? To make it think it was flying, okay? Because wild ducks, they do quack. 它们这个野生的鸭子，当它们飞的时候，常常它们呢还是会叫。So he was saying, well, okay, we'll just do that. Okay. Next. So much for being discreet. Okay, now, this is a good word, to be discreet. To be discreet means to be quiet or to keep a secret, like 保密 or 安静. So much for being discreet. That means obvious. I don't know exactly the best way to translate this, but it's 当然是没办法保密安静. But the duck quacked like crazy. So here's this guy, he's running along, and the duck quacked, 它叫 like crazy, 疯狂的叫 疯狂的叫。Next. Yes, they learned something. Yes, the ducks quacks echoed. The quacks echoed. 它的叫的声音有回声，有回音。So, the experiment is a success. Now, they looked a little crazy, but the experiment was a success. I recorded it. 我就录下来。Although the echoes didn't record very well. 但这个 echo 的音没有好好录进去。So, I recorded, 录下来了。Okay? Of course, you don't know whether this is 录音还是录音. You don't know. But he recorded it, though the echoes didn't record. 没有录好. Okay? I have a dandy video. Here's a good word. Dandy. Dandy. I think this is an old word. I think of something 50, 60, 70 years ago when we were little kids. Dandy. That means fine or good. Okay? Very good. In fact, dandy. Okay? I have a dandy video. Okay? 我的录影啊，我那个片子，这个视频啊，那么 video is very good. Okay? What is the 这个主角是什么 of my friend running with the duck? Running with the duck. Okay? And I call it my duck tape. Now, I got to stop here because this is where English gets a little bit crazy. I said that sometimes when we speak English, what we say has a double meaning. Okay, now, duck, D-U-C-K, duck. Now, go back to the last picture. I want to stop right here. Look at this. The video, my friend running with the duck. I call it my duck tape. Well, that is not quite right. Do you know what duct, D-U-C-T? Do you know what duct tape is? 一种胶布. Very famous, very useful in America. This is called duct tape. Now, what did he call it? He called it, we got to do something here. We'll just put this thing up here. There you go. That is duct tape. Okay? Duct tape, not duct tape. But he 是开玩笑. He said, this video is, 我叫它是 my duck tape. Okay? Going on. The whole thing, okay, oh dear. Here we go again. Quacks me up. Okay? Now, normally we would say, if you would cracks me up, C-R-A-C-K-S, cracks me up means it makes me laugh. Usually, to crack up means to laugh uncontrollably. Laugh, 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 laugh. But because the guy writing this is 很幽默, okay? Very humorous. So his last line, 最后一句, the whole thing, 这个整个事情，去学校等等等等等everything quacks me up. Okay, quack, of course, 鸭子叫. But it is very close in meaning to cracks me up. So, an American reading this story, they would say the whole thing, 这个整个故事，整个事情，我们所做的 makes me laugh a lot. It's very humorous. So, the question is, maybe I should ask Mrs. Ash. You need to come out here. We got a couple more seconds here. Okay, the question I want to ask you,
Yes.
do ducks, quacks echo?
Yes, according to this story, yes.
Yes, according to this story. I don't know. Probably the thing that I learned from this story is not everything that you see written down is true.
Mhm.
You need sometimes to test it out. 做实验. Now these guys were very smart. Even though they looked funny. 这看起来很奇怪. And I imagine the students still looked and say, what are those men doing?
Yes.
To me, that would quack me up too. Quack, quack, quack. Anyway, so much for that. We better tell you again how you can write to us. Okay, we do have an email address. 我们电子电邮的地址 the old principal at gmail.com and 我们的网站 www 点 theoldprincipal 点 org. With that, we run out of time. Thank you again for sharing with us.
Bye.